Good morning to you all. My name is Kalyan Chakravarthy. I know sometimes it's difficult to pronounce, so I go by KC. And I'm the Chief Information Officer for the Regional Municipality of Durham, as well as from the past 1.5 years, I've taken the additional responsibility as the Executive Project Lead for My Durham 311. And My Durham 311 is a customer experience enhancement project that the region has undertaken where we are consolidating all the customer experience at one place so that you'll have an omni-channel experience and like we are striving towards a first-time resolution way. So it's been an amazing journey and Enable AI Summit. I think I want to congratulate for the third year and I've been there for the first year and I've seen it evolve. And I hope that like next year, I was talking to Mauricio, Ali, and everybody, and I hope that and next time it will be in person and it will be much more be easy to communicate, network, and exchange our ideas even more in a better way. But that's all we hope. What we can do is hope. Let's see how it goes. Now, before going into how AI Hub has helped the region or how is our association with the region, want to talk about a bit of a personal story, how I got introduced to this. So when I was at the region, we did a big smart city conference where we invited all our community partners as well as our public to attend to really get the feedback, exchange ideas about what does smart city mean to us and what is the path that we need to go in. And when we're talking, like I think there is a Durham College thing that we had to talk about. And then I was told that like Ali Hirji is the person to talk about. And I was on stage, I was talking, I didn't meet him till then. So I said like, Ali, where are you? And I wanted to talk with you. Then as soon as I came, like from the public, he gives a shout out and like waves his hand and said like, let's meet. And I think that is the start of the collaboration, at least from my personal perspective and the regional's perspective in the IT side of the things with the AI Hub. And that has grown stronger and stronger. I think I built a lot of personal connections. I learned a lot from the students and the hub because they bring in that fresh ideas and they bring in the perspective that where when you are working in something where you don't think about. So the start of it, like where when we were talking, we said like we want to do something. We want to collaborate with AI Hub because what I strongly believe in is like when you're in a public sector, when you're working for the community, the objective is not just do things on your own, but like you create that ecosystem, you reach out to the bigger ecosystem and all the players, whether it is the colleges, the universities, or not-for-profit organizations, all of them working together to the benefit of our residents. And that is what like we wanted to do. And we said, how can we collaborate? What can we do? And we brainstormed a lot. Like there were a lot of like I think at least 10 or 20 ideas we thought about, and then we realized saying that hey, we can't do this because of this reason, or like there would be some issue. We identified something or the other where we thought like this would not fly well. Then one day it was we were rolling our Office 365, or like everything was rolled out, like where, and then looking at from an IT help desk. I know this gets a bit technical, but like from an IT help desk perspective, we wanted to have a how can I use AI technologies, the smart home technologies, to really help our employees internally, where they can go and say, hey, Google Home or Alexa, just reset my password. And that was the first project I think we have done until somebody else corrects me. But like as far as my memory goes, I have a memory like Dory. I don't know if anybody knows Dory, like it is Finding Nemo and Finding Dory. So that is the kind of memory that I have. But like that, I think was the first project that we did where we wanted to do a pilot of how can employees go and reset their password? And like we put in the scope very small to say where it can only be done in office, so that like you don't have to worry about from a authentication perspective. Then we talked about how do we get to the authentication part. So there were a lot of challenges, this one that is there, and we piloted this as well to really look at it. But what I learned in that experience is about the commitment that the team has brought in, the commitment that the students have brought in, and they were enthusiastic. I think it was a refreshing change when you see that enthusiasm, and like where you have to tell them, okay, slow down. Yes, we can do this, we can do that. There are a lot of possibilities, but like let's try to solve that problem. So it was a very, very refreshing change, and that really taught me about like where you need to solve problems, you really, really need to unlearn some things, because we all do get stuck on first thing it comes in is like whenever a problem or a solution that comes into the mind, there are a lot of people who come in and say, hey, why this cannot be done? But while learning with the AI Hub and like while talking to the students, what I learned is like first things is like if I have a problem, I need to unlearn my way of thinking to say, hey, this is the only way to solve it. So I need to relearn to say there are multiple ways. There are different things. Yes, there are challenges in every approach that we take, but they are all solvable. They are all the challenges like can be overcome because there is always a way to get around it. So that was a great, great learning for me. And like that forced towards by saying that, okay, I want to interact with these students more because not because I want to share my knowledge, but because I think I was selfish enough to think that I want to learn from them because they come in with this a different attitude from a diversity set of students, so like would be able to learn on it. And that's where like I inclined myself to teach at Durham College. And when the first project was there and like when we were successful in our proof of concept, that really boosted like where like that gave us that path of like we literally paved that path to go do multiple projects onto it. Because first time when you get in, like it is about the legal things, although yes, like we are all in the playing in the same ecosystem and we want to collaborate, but at the end of the day there are different entities, so you need to have that legal boundaries, who owns the data, who owns the IP. So some simplistic part of it. And I was very happy, like I worked with multiple partners in the ecosystem for doing these kind of collaborations. But like I can say, AI Hub has been really been painless because they understand and they are very eager to work. Then one day, I think the next was like where, okay, we did it. And then there was a pause. Like once you do the project, there is a pause. Then like there was where we were talking about, there were a couple of regional people and then AI Hub folks. And we were talking, we need to do something together. And then we talk about, yes, we did one thing, and it was, this is how the result was. So how can we really change to the next level of it and do something which is more customer facing, because this was much more on the employee facing side of the things. So we wanted to do a customer facing side of things. So this was, if I'm not wrong, 2019 winter kind of a time frame, because I definitely know it was a general scheme that we all went, and that is where like we were having this conversation. And when we were having this conversation, like there were some transit folks, and then like it came in as a collaboration. It's a three-way collaboration between Durham Region Transit, Durham Region IT, and AI Hub, where we wanted to do something different, and like where it would be about counting to see the average wait time of residents who come to the bus stop before the timing of the bus. And like did they, and also when do they come into that stop and when do they leave, and like how many people do really try to miss the bus. So we wanted to see, okay, how many people are there, when did that, before the, just before the 5-6 minutes the bus comes in, how many people are there, how much time are they wasting sitting and waiting for that. And Then we looked at like, okay, after that, how many people come in? So is it this linking with the on-time performance? Like that was our idea, to really get this data, link this with the on-time performance of our transit, and see how can we improve. And if there is a gap, what is the gap? And like this was a, as much as it is a very simple thing to ask, to say, tell me how many people are there in the bus stop and when they came in. But like there would be a lot of privacy concerns, there would be a lot of things. So we were working on, and like we were trying to install something on the bus stops. And that is where COVID hit. That is the biggest stop. Like, and I think we will, and what we changed, like, because then it was, the transit was not active at that, like due to the pandemic. So we changed a bit of the scope, but like I honestly hope like once everything gets back, we will get back to this, and like we will rekindle this project and get it going on it. So what the learning from that particular project is, like, it was a very complicated, although from a scope perspective it is very simple, and there is a clarity in the scope. But what it was is, like, from an implementation perspective, there is a lot that need to be done, and like thinking about, and not because of the technology process, but like it is more about making sure that like we are respecting the privacy of our citizens, because that was very important for all of us. So that's a great learning experience. And another project that like I wanted to really look at is it's a fun one. It just ended recently, and like we are in the testing phase, and like this is, once again, we need to go to different authorities to get an approval to do this pilot. But like we know that like we can do it, because we did the proof of concept, and everything is about I hope like none of you go through this, but if you ever go through if you ever get a ticket, a traffic ticket in Durham region, like whether it's for speeding, mostly for the speeding part of it, because rest of the offenses are completely bit more serious in nature. But if you get a ticket, like you have an option to appeal, and when you are appealing, like there is a personal conversation that happens to say, okay, what are the circumstances? Because it's all about the circumstance. It's not, although it is a black and white to say you're going on a 60 and a 40 road or whatever those that happen, but like there are some circumstances. What kind of road is it? Like, is it was there a school nearby? What are your previous offense? So there are a lot of other things that come into the play, because the first level is always about what happened. Then it is about a broader context, building that context, and like you'll have a conversation with a mediation or appeal, whatever you call, with the prosecutor, and then like from there they'll advise you, saying that like if you go to court, yes, this is what the judge might feel. But before you go into the honorable justice place, like this is the time to have that consult. So and like this was initiated by my dear friend, and respect him to the core, our regional solicitor, Dr. Jason Hunt. And he really looked at it and said, like, Casey, I want to do this. Can we build me? And he always jokes, like saying that, like, I want to partner with you, and I have to make my 3D hologram like how it comes in CNN, because I would like to be there at multiple places at the same time. Said, like, sorry, that can't happen. That's a personal passion of yours. We don't work on your personal passion. But anyway, I do digress. Coming back to this, so what we want to do is, like, we were not sure whether this is a technology project, this is a data one, this is an AI one. But like we discussed, to really look at and say, okay, how do this whole process work? So we sat with a couple of prosecutors, and what are the things that they look at. So we collected data, a bit of data that is there to say how, because there is an historical data that needed for this to be proving well. So that's why we collected a lot of historical data, and we tried to minimize it. So where we created a user interface where you say, you put in the ticket number, it pulls in the ticket from the system to say, okay, this is the offense, and it reads all the codes in the ticket. Like we also looked at like and we tested it but we said, okay, this might be a phase 2.1 where I can take a picture of my actual ticket, and like it would be able to get all the fill in the details instead of me filling in everything. And then once that is there, you submit, and like it tells you based on the circumstances, like it will ask you a few more questions. Where is that location, what it is. So with the location, it can see what is the area surrounding. So are there any problems with that? So everything it will analyze, and it will tell you, if you would go into the prosecutor would give you this is the suggestion. But this is not about telling that like you can't do anything after, but like this was much more about, this was a guide that would enable to say, do you want to really go to the prosecutor, or do you want to go in front of the honorable judge, or like do you want to pay? It's all the options. Like this is about giving everybody that various things that you have in your control, and once you have the data all with you, you can definitely make a better choice than like you just going in without knowing everything. And like we were also thinking about putting in the multilingual support, and the reason behind why we were going this is there is a lot of people don't know what choices they have, and like we want our residents to understand that like there are a lot of things. Like we are not a governing body that stops you from doing something, but like we want to help in every way, and like within that limits, and like making sure is everybody safe. So that was another one. So with all these things, why I told you, and there were a couple of other small projects that we did, but like I picked these three because this tells you where, from a technology perspective, it's not just about doing something big. It's not about building something big, but it is more about taking a problem and trying to solve it in a simplistic way, and trying out small. Starting small and growing big was where we wanted to go in. And the greatest part of this is like anytime that I took these kind of problems, AI Hub, they never laughed at me. They said like, this is small, this is big, we can't do it. The first thing is, tell me more, and what do you want us to do? And once I gave them the scope, once I gave them what is expected out of it, then they were ready to really go back and come back and say, hey, we know how we can approach this. These are your alternative options. And from here, you can pick which way to go in, and then like we take it from there. So that's the amazing part of it. So when I'm talking about AI Hub, like if I don't talk the experience that I had and like what I think are the key success factors for AI Hub, I think I would be doing an injustice to them. So let's take from my perspective, and like this is not a region of Durham's perspective. This is completely my personal opinion, what I'm going to share. So first and foremost from my side, when I talk about AI Hub, is the wonderful, most enthusiastic staff. And when I say staff, it is not just the staff that like you interact with, or the teaching staff, but like the support staff, the administrative staff. So that everybody, like it is, they have a sense of eagerness to really work with you. I think, if I may call that hunger to really work with you, prove, and like they want to solve that problems, because that's what that enthusiasm is, what gets me. Because the more you go into your career, that enthusiasm maybe sometimes it dwindles down, but like when you see that, it really is happy to it's a breath of fresh air. And second is about bright students. Like I think biggest thing is about, there is a lot of diversity in what I see in AI Hub. And when you have that kind of a diversity, I think it really leads to that diversity of thoughts. That's what we strive at everywhere, like, and that is what we need to do at all the places. But like, I think AI Hub and Durham College as a whole, I feel that like if you take a sampling of it's a really good diverse group. Can it be better? Absolutely. Nothing is perfect. But like, I think to start with itself, it's a beautifully diverse group, which can help bring in a wonderful diverse set of ways of solving a problem. And the students are like really enthusiastic. So I love the students, like interact with majority of them. And as I said, like I learned a lot from them when I'm doing it. And then facility, like where I would love to, like if given a choice, I would love to work from the hub anytime, like beautiful spot. I think when you go into it, great windows, like I think I find a reason why I have to go there, because like it's just sitting in itself, it gives that a feeling of, yes, like I'm doing something big and I want to work. So it's a welcoming part of it. And then where I have never, anytime I ask, like it's the support team, sometimes we don't give enough credit, because like there is always the people who are at the front, who you talk about or you deliver. Those are the people who come to you for meetings and all that. Those are all great, but like sometimes if you don't have the right support staff to keep all these and tie all these things together, that's a biggest recipe for disaster. But I feel the support staff here are amazing. Like whenever I drop in a note, like they respond. Like I know that like I'm expecting a response on it. And the craziest person is Mr. Ali Hirji. Like I think I don't even know. I think he has some sense where like even before I click send, the response comes in. Maybe he has put in some AI chip into me, so I have to check it out. But for sure, so it's about that responsiveness, like where I wanted to talk about. Then and the other, where if you see the three projects, why I chose those three projects, like what I said, like apart from all the other things that we did, is about the flexibility of doing different types of things. Because this is new, like this is like where I didn't go and ask them to build a product. I didn't go to ask them to do anything that like they have been doing. Okay, password reset on this particular thing. It's a completely different thing than looking at a transit stop and looking at the justice part of the things. So these are all very different. And the flexibility to really say, hey, I don't care for what it is there, but like I want to really look at the solution as a solution and provide a better way to solve that problem. It is that flexibility of those projects is what makes it interesting and like they are ready to do. And I think engaging this, it's a win-win situation. And the last but not the least, where like I want to talk about on this one, on why I love AI Hub, is about the biggest thing of engaging these people is about creating that ecosystem, because we all benefit from it from a regional perspective. And like once again, I say this is my personal opinion and not a region's one, is about like when you have the region supporting these like either educational institution or not-for-profit institutions. What happens is like these students come here, they work with the region, they get some experience, then they get employed somewhere, then like they have that affinity and like have a soft corner towards the region. They buy some property at the Durham region, they live there, they become our taxpayers, they contribute to the society. So it's that whole thing that like I talk about when we say, when we help each other, it is about like that growing this region stronger, better, bigger, all of us together. So I think where I could say is like pride of DC is a pride of Durham for sure, right? Like if you are a Durham region, a Durham college student, and if you are doing well, that means you belong to the Durham region. So we are proud as well. So those are the things that I talk about from wonderful experiences on the AI Hub. But I think nothing is perfect. And like I wanted to give a balanced one like I did. This is not like AI Hub is perfect and like this is where this is. But like I wanted to say where I see that like there are some areas where we can do a lot better. And I say we in that because I feel somehow, whether it is in a singular way or like in a direct or an indirect one, I'm part of AI Hub. Like whenever anything happens at AI Hub, I feel that like I'm part of that team. I think with my involvement in the past 3 or 4 years made me feel that like I'm part of it, like somehow or the other. I don't know what, but like it is that emotional part of it to say, yes, when I say AI Hub us, I call it us. When I say we need to. So that's how I think about it. And like there are learnings from working with it, from seeing it from a customer perspective. What I can definitely say is like there are different things that we can improve on. And one is about like, I believe that like first and foremost is about building that business mindset. I think where we can do a better job in going into the business part of it rather than an academic part. We're still struggling to go between what is that fine line, like what is that like optimal point, like I think we definitely do need to have. Then when I talk to students, when they come up with the solutions and it is there, I think sometimes the focus is on the product and it is not on the problem. So it is like where, how do we really build this product that can do all these things? But like, I think maybe we need to look at it and say, how do I solve this problem? Because that's very important. Products are not important. Solving a problem becomes a product. So if you focus on this side, like this will definitely happen. And then the other one that like you want to do is like going for that business oriented solution. And this is where I feel that like where how I don't know the answer for this, but what I see is this wonderful talented student pool and the staff that are there that come in and like they can build great standalone products. That is like if you give them a solution as it is, they can build a great of it. But what is a bit more challenging and like where we need to find somewhere to really blend in is like these products don't live standalone in an enterprise world. They are put into an ecosystem. Like as soon as you put in, for example, like it's simplistic to start with, right? Like how does an SSO, how do you connect that with an SSO? And like these are all the things, not that like they don't know how to do it, but the thought process from the start like might be like fitting it into the enterprise-wide solutions. But I think it is still a very young piece. And like I think in 3-4 years they will look at me and laugh and say, as you said like 2 years ago, look how we are doing it, like nobody else in the world does it in this way. I hope like I am wrong, and I hope that like these are all the things are taken in a positive way. And like this is where, as I said, it is us that is building in and want to have, I'm always proud of the AI Hub or a DC College as a whole. So this is my experience with AI Hub. This is my experience with like a broader one at a Durham College. And I sincerely would like to thank all the team of Enable AI for giving me this opportunity to speak and share my thoughts. I know I haven't shared anything earth-shattering, but like I thought this was much more about me speaking genuinely about what I feel, and there is nothing related to what needs to be done and what need not be. So that's what I have. I'll take any questions and we'll take it from there. So questions. So maybe I have some questions and I'll read the questions and I'll try to answer. So question one was, are you considering creating a technology fund to help companies in the region to leverage some of the expertise at Hub? So let me answer that question. So we are not putting any fund per se, but what we do from our smart city and other areas is like we do take advantage of partnering with some of our partners, like in a way, like with OCI, Ontario Centre of Innovation. We did recently one project, which is first of its kind in Canada, where we are using the smart home devices like your Google Home and Alexa to provide regional services. For example, if you are a regional resident of Durham, you can ask your Google Home or Alexa, who is your regional councillor, who is your local councillor, when is my next garbage day? And you don't have to even look at your neighbor's porch to see, is it a black bag or is it just a green and blue bin? So when is my next garbage day? What type of garbage? Where is my nearest transit stop? Where is my nearest, when is the next bus coming? And so all these things are delivered through the smart home technology, smart home devices. So this was done from a combination of region, OCI, and Spark Center. And like we invited startups like to really get to it. So that was, so if you're talking about that, yes, we have done it. This is new for us, but we are learning, as I said, like this is continuous improvement in what we do. Next question is, how can we help our hub compete with likes of Waterloo and McMaster? And from my perspective, this is my personal opinion. Like, I think we have all the talent in the world to say that, like, we can definitely compete with Waterloo and McMaster. But it is about having those opportunities, and it is having that, letting the world know that, like, we have this talent pool, and like it takes time. Like, where if you think about it, like, where when we ask this question about, okay, how can we compete with them? First thing about how many years have they been running and how many years that, like, we started. So it is like even in year 3, year 4 itself, like we are a reckoning force. So I don't see why not we can compete with them. But like, it takes it takes time. It does not, in my opinion, it does not happen over time. But what we need to do is definitely partner with some of a big name to really get that marketing. Because how many people know? Like, I was in region of Durham, so I know. Like, so if I'm working with region of Peel, would I know is the question. So maybe it is about, but like, let people know that, like, what we do and what is our and clarity of that, like what exactly are we expecting. And then the next question that came to me is, like, we all understand the benefits of adopting technology. What are the current barriers and challenges that municipalities in Durham region and the AI hub must address to take AI to the next level? I I think the first thing is about awareness. Okay, so I'll talk about, I know I might be repeating, but like, I want to talk about the same solution, because then it becomes easier to understand the thought process that goes in. It's about the smart home technology. When we were ready to put in, majority of the people inside region of Durham itself were concerned about the privacy aspect. This device is listening to me. And then we have to go and talk about the awareness to say, if you have any smart device, that is, your computer is listening to you, your phone is listening to you. See, that is not a big thing, because you are keeping the phone wherever you are going, you have that device with you. So it is listening. And so if that is what you're taking in, it's nothing. The smart home technology is nothing different. So that is that awareness part of it. Like, because the moment it is complicated, people need to be told about simplified. Not everybody is technology oriented, because some people might have a technology that some people might be great at something else. So we need to create that awareness. And like, once you create the awareness, there are people who would come in and say, hey, how can I solve this problem using this? And also the messaging is always about, it's not about the technology. It is not about AI. It's not about cloud. It's not about cyber. It is about, we are doing something. We have a business problem. How can we solve it? The moment you try to address it from the other side to say how we want to use AI, you're making the thing smaller. So it is like maybe tilting it and say, okay, what are the business challenges that you have and how can we help? So if it is there, like, you are not able to do it in a better way, let us know, because there are technologies that we know which can help you to do things faster, better, and more efficient. Okay. The next question it came in is like, we know there is a shortage of talent when we talk about cybersecurity. How does talent and job opportunities look like in AI? I think the talent and the opportunities, I think it's cyclical. Because if you see the cybersecurity, if you watch from the past 10 years, it is because, like, none of the organizations, like most of the organizations, not everybody, have not invested on technology and not invested on cybersecurity. So you saw a huge boost to really say, okay, because as soon as there are attacks happening or like any cybersecurity lapses, everybody focus went there. And like, you don't want to be in the front page. You don't want to be known as like, okay, this company lost this data or this. So suddenly there were, if you see in the market, there is a lot of products and like there are a lot of solutions in the cybersecurity one. And that is where, like, once you have these products, once you have all these things, there is a pool of resources that are needed at both sides, right? Like, where people who are building the products, people who are implementing the products, and people who are just maintaining the thing. So everybody needs that, like whether it is an organization, it's the region, municipality, wherever they need cybersecurity experts, they will buy a cybersecurity product. So to make that and maintain it, there needs to be there. So everybody is needing it. Now I see that like it is where once we go past this pandemic, people will really look at, because the cost of living has gone high. The availability of resources has gone down. You see anywhere, like if you want to go and buy a car, like it is a 6 to 1 year wait. So what will happen in the next 6 to 8 months is like there will be a huge focus by majority of the companies or majority of the organizations to find that efficiencies, and especially with all the employees either on the remote side of the things or on the hybrid mode. That is where, like in the near future, those are the two ones that will come in, and maybe the pendulum will swing like maybe 5-10 years later to the everybody should come to office. But like hybrid is, I'm assuming that is where the way to go. So there are a lot of these small technology things that will happen, where products which will get that buy-in from organizations, and like they are just recovering from the COVID related stuff, majority of them. So I see it's like the 2023, 2024, 2025, that is where data analytics and AI will come and play a big part, like how the 19th, 20, 21, 22 was cybersecurity. You can see now like people having that fatigue of cybersecurity, getting that one in, but like that will grow stronger and stronger for sure. But like there will be that emergence of the data and AI coming into picture. That's me thinking about it, but let's see what happens. The next question was, we noticed the hub is quick on responses and customer services, customer service oriented. How does that help? I wonder if the region might consider some frameworks around AI privacy. Okay, so there are two different questions. So I'll ask, we noticed the hub is quick on responses and customer service oriented. How does that help? It's about, I think, let me put it in a personal perspective, like where if you send a person a message and if that person responds to you, you want to talk to that person. You want to make that next move for the next time. If that person does not respond to you for 5-6 days, or like even if it responds, if it's not even a useful one, you don't want to talk to that for another other time. So it is that customer service oriented one that brings you the second and third time engagement. It is, yes, you need to prove that like you are doing whatever the job that was given to you in a good way, but it is that exceptional customer service that always brings you back. That's the first thing that you learn, like when we talk about in customer service, is about things happen. There are like where projects, majority of the projects don't go right for the first time. They might need some tweaks, all this, but it is whenever you ask a customer about like, how did you feel it? It comes from the rest of it's not just the solution, but like that is surrounding how that person has been dealt with, right from the engagement part to the closure. That is what stays with the customer. Next question, I wonder a region might consider some frameworks around AI, privacy, ethics. Maybe I think for sure, like I don't think that like we want to reinvent the wheel in this to really create privacy ethics like right from the scratch. There is a lot of work that is being done from a federal perspective, from a provincial perspective. What we would like to do is like we want to really build on that. Like we want to take that portion and say, can we do any small tweaks to really fit into that regional part of the things? But I would not recommend starting from scratch, because like if everybody is doing the same, like we are wasting the resources in starting from scratch. I always believe in that, like there is the collaboration is part of it with even all our municipalities is about where, how can we leverage the work that is being done by each other. But we're waiting, like there is the couple of things where we are working on with the province and the federal ones to say, okay, what does it mean to us? Like when we put in a solution in our environment, what is that? What are the standards that it needs to meet, making sure there are no biases in the data that we put in, and like how do we really quantify that? Because it's easy to say about like there should not be the bias in the data and like blah, but how do we really know if it is there or it is not there, and like how can we assure that? So those are all the things that like we definitely, there is a lot of talks. It might take a time, but like there are a lot of talks and there's a lot of debate that is going on. That the region uh, that the region currently have policies surrounding the use of AI for decision making and recommendations. I think I answered that question in a different way. So the regional elections are coming up. Is there anything on the roadmap to enable a virtual election? Maybe not an AI solution, but can the students help? Great question. I think this is what I love about the enthusiasm of, and I can tell for sure, like it is from a student, is about when an election happens, it's not just about technology. It is about a policy. It is about the legislator behind it. We are municipalities, like anything that we do, there is a guiding legislation that goes for us. So going on to online thing was a big move for municipalities. Like it was a big thing. You still see there are a lot of municipalities that don't allow the one. Even it's not even about the election. For simple thing as like where a council meeting, can it held virtual? They have to pass a legislation to make it happen when the COVID hit. So it is not just about the technology part. I always tell, right? Like I think technology part is the easiest one, because like it can be done. We know the solution. We can do it. If it doesn't work, we can tweak it, get that one. So it's not about the technology. It is not about the investment. It is about the legislation part. And like we have to go by that legislation. So I don't see anything in the near future happening in a virtual election, because I think people need to catch up or like take it as an as a thing of online voting. And I'm still trying to find, why would I vote in a virtual world? Like I would just go in and say online, I would just put in the vote. But if your meaning was virtual was online voting, yes, that is going to happen in the region and some of the local municipalities this time. Do you think the next one was like, do you think IoT based innovation should be our focus at DC? I think there is it cannot be one simple focus. Like it can be multiple focus. That is where you have the diversity of people. You take some of the things who are interested in IoT should do on the IoT, because for sure that is the future, right? Like everything will be smart, everything will be there, where we are talking about AR, VR, and all these things. Like where and just 2 days ago, like I was at a conference, and one thing I learned is like in the VR world, like I only thought about there are only a couple of sensors that you can engage, like where I can see the eyes and the ears, and like maybe if you have any device in your hand, so the feel of touch like can be. But like I saw something where like the sense of smell can be gotten. Like so you have a cartridge, like if you are going into lavender farm, like that pushes you the lavender sense. So these are all the things that are coming in, and I feel that like that is the future, where like if you look at the new generation, where they are stuck to a device or the other, and like that is their immersive world. I have a 13-year-old daughter, and like I could see like where like they are more comfortable hanging out in the virtual world and having that conversation than in the real world part of it. We can debate on what is right and what is wrong till the cows come home, but that's not the point. The point is about where that is the future, that is where it is going, and where that like you call it an IoT device, I call it as a smart device, like wherever it is there. Yes, there is a lot of future, and there is a lot of things that would be delivered. If you can order a toilet paper from an Amazon through your Alexa, that means like we are like hitting that first part where like that is changing. So yes, they are the future. Is there a focus that needs to be there? Absolutely, because there are a lot of business cases that you can build to make that happen. So I see that like I'm near to the end of my time. I don't want to overextend my time. So any other questions? I have a question for your view on the metaverse. That's for a separate conversation, Ali, for sure. Like I don't want to talk about it now. And so we'll talk later about it. But I sincerely want to thank the Enable AI team for giving me this opportunity to share my views. And some of the questions made me think about, oh, okay, what can be done, what cannot be. So thanks a lot for your time. And like, if anybody wants to reach out to me, please reach out on LinkedIn, and more than happy to chat on anything that I can add value to you. So thank you, and hope you have a great rest of the summit, and hopefully you'll learn a lot from it, and you can take it and implement it in your studies, in your career, or even further in life. So thank you. Have a good day.